Hi everyone, this is our channel, Meet the Real Story. Please like, share and subscribe.
Everyone has people who love, respect, and worry about them, and we sometimes make sacrifices to make them happy. Have you ever asked yourself how much you would be willing to sacrifice if a loved one really needed help? How far will you be willing to go? If you want to know the answer, then please listen to my story. My name is Carla, and I'm 18 years old. I live with my parents and my two brothers, Kevin and Warren. My father worked at a gas cylinder factory. It was a dangerous job, but in our city, available jobs were very limited. My mother was a housewife. She took good care of us. Our life was quite simple. Despite the long working hours, Dad would come home and always make the time to play and joke around with us. My brothers and I knew that our parents were doing their best to give us a happy, comfortable home. As a result of their efforts, I strove to do well at school. Dad would always say that he wanted us to get prestigious jobs in the future, that this was his hope, his dream, but it didn't quite turn out that way. To make ends meet, Dad was forced to work more shifts at the factory. One day, while we were watching TV together, the telephone rang, and Dad answered it. I heard him tell the other party that he was on his way, and he went off to the factory. It seemed that there was a problem, a serious problem at the factory, and they needed Dad's help. Though the tone of his voice worried me, I didn't say anything. Dad hugged us and said that he would be back soon. Later that night, after we had gone to sleep, Mom's screaming woke us up. We ran to the living room to see her standing there, holding the phone in her hand. I slowly took it from her and asked the man on the other end what was going on. He replied, "I'm sorry to tell you this, young lady, but your father died while rescuing a lot of workers. He saved many lives and was a very brave man. The loss of our dad turned our life upside down. We missed his jokes, his laughter, his dreams. We needed his support. Our debts started piling up. We barely had enough for food. Dad hadn't left us much, just a little bit for school tuition. Mom became depressed. I happened upon a job post for an opening at Dad's factory. They needed a trainee, and once the trainee had finished the required training period, they would be hired at a reasonably high starting salary. Unfortunately, the work was for men only. Our home situation was desperate, so I decided to do whatever it took to get this job. I went to my bedroom and cut my hair. It wasn't easy, but I had to. When I walked into the kitchen for breakfast the next morning, Mom was surprised by my new look. She asked me why I cut my hair so short. I told her that I had to get serious and find a job first to survive. I told her that I would complete my studies while working. She remembered Dad's wish for us kids, that we would get prestigious jobs someday, and I promised her that I would achieve Dad's dream for us. I asked her to wish me luck. She cried, but then she smiled sadly. On the day of the interview, I wore loose clothes and took off. The workers there seemed so strong. That was expected. They needed to be, to handle the hard work. I told the interviewer that my name was Kevin and that I would do my ultimate best. Finally, they called me in to say that I had passed the interview. That was my first step. It was hard to balance my studies with the work training, especially because there were a lot of competitors for that job. Though, step by step, I was handling the training quite well. One day, during training, while we were reading an internet article about gas factory accidents, the factory's emergency siren sounded. Dad's accident immediately came to the forefront of my mind. I got worried and tensed up, but I calmed myself by thinking of my family. I told the trainer that I had an idea to stop the gas leak safely. I told him that I needed to get to the control room to explain what had to be done, so he took me to the control room. The head engineer there looked at my young face, and I could see a mocking look in his eyes. I proceeded to tell him what I thought should be done. His eyes got wider and wider as I explained a solution that apparently he had never thought of before. He promptly implemented my solution and restored the plant to safety, without any casualties or additional equipment damage. He thanked me for a job well done. He asked my trainer about me, who said that I was new here. Then he told the trainer that I had a promising future. He told me that the last time they had a problem like this, an employee had to sacrifice himself to save the other workers. I went home and told Mom about what happened. She was thrilled and hugged me proudly. The next day, I went back to work and was greeted by all the workers. They thought I was a hero. The manager called me into his office. I used this chance to tell him my secret. I told him my first secret, that the worker who had sacrificed himself at this very same factory was my father. I told him that I had studied Dad's accident and thought about it a lot and contrived a better, safer solution so that when it happened again, I'd be ready. He said that he was proud of me, that I was the son of that brave man. Then I hit him with my second secret, that I was Dad's daughter, not a son. He was shocked, but he didn't react as I had expected. He placed a hand on my shoulder and told me that I was braver than most of the men at his factory. As a reward for both my dad and I helping save lives at the factory, he gave me a raise and a cash bonus too. I returned home with the cash bonus, and I told my family about my day. They all hugged me and cried tears of happiness. Eventually, I finished my studies in engineering, and I am now a control room engineer at the same factory. I didn't quite achieve Dad's dream, but I think he would be proud of my choice. Life unexpectedly hits us with pivotal moments sometimes, some good, some harmless, some deadly. You have to be ready for it when it does.
Hey, my name is Anne. It was the summer break before college, and as a graduation kind of celebration and before each and everyone went to a different college, my best friends and I decided to go on a fancy summer vacation to one of the most beautiful places on earth. At least that's what I think, to Hawaii. I was in my room daydreaming about wearing those cool coconut bras while enjoying an exotic juice, maybe even doing a hula dance, and then my best friend Kim called and burst my coconut bubble. She suggested that since we're off to a whole new stage of our lives, we may as well get a complete makeover. I thought she meant we should go shopping or something, but no, she said we should go to the hair salon and get new haircuts and maybe even dye our hair. I admit that I was overly excited about the whole thing, so I said yes. My normal hairdresser was on annual leave. She has always cut my hair exactly how I describe it. I love her. However, she has been gone for a while, and we couldn't wait any longer for a haircut, so I made an appointment with another hairdresser at the same salon. On a side note, Kim is blonde, while I'm a brunette. I know this info might not sound useful, but it will come in handy throughout the story. Kim and I drove to the hair salon. The place looked extra fancy, the kind of place you would trust. We went inside all giggly like we were 12. We were actually 18 at the time. Anyways, we were greeted by a really nice lady. That lady said that Kim should get highlights and I should go for the same, plus going blonde. I was skeptic, but who cares? It's summertime. The lady put bleach all over my head and went to do Kim's hair. So, after 15 minutes, my scalp started burning like crazy. So I called the nice lady and she said it was time to wash the bleach. As she was washing my head, her smiley face went poker. Chunks of my now orange hair were all over the sink. Kim looked at me and her eyes got as big as my head. The lady asked me not to freak out and that she could cover the bald spots with a really short haircut. The lady asked me not to freak out and that she could cover the bald spots, and so she started cutting my hair. So far, so good. Then she snips a huge section out of the front of my hair, saying that she was framing my face. At this point, it was too late to say anything. The haircut was just hideous. Not me at all, and especially not what I asked for. So I told her that I hated it. She felt really bad and I started to tear up because it was seriously so ugly. And now that I was stuck with a really bad haircut, I tried to calm myself that maybe the color will turn out okay. And then she put the dye on my hair and it turned my hair green. The only solution now was to become a redhead, and that was just a no for me. I don't have the complexion of a redhead. Our boyfriends were actually going to pick us up from the salon, and just imagining the look on Nick's face made me cry and laugh at the same time. Rachel played it really cool, and even her highlights did not go so well, but that incident was just one of a kind. I ended up with the weirdest hair color ever. It was like I was half mermaid, half dragon. This did not stop us from enjoying our summer break though. It was actually a good source of jokes for a long, long time.
Hi, I'm Samantha. What is the biggest shock you've ever experienced in your life? Have you ever shocked your family, parents, siblings? What if you were to discover that the people you live with aren't really your blood relatives? Please listen to my story and advise me. I am an only daughter to a lovely, kind, and generous family. They have given me the moon. Our life was stable, and my parents would sacrifice anything to make me happy. I loved them dearly. But unfortunately, I have discovered a shocking truth. We were moving into a new home, a villa that my father had bought. I loved reading a lot, and I had a lot of books in my father's study. I entered the study to collect the books for the move. While doing so, I dropped some files from his desk. As I was gathering them up from the floor, I found a picture of me with a strange man. I thought he was perhaps one of our relatives, or a friend of my dad's. There was a date on the photo, which happened to be my birthday. My curiosity led me to look through the file. I found my birth certificate with my name on it, but the father's name was not the man that I currently knew as my father. There was also a photo of this man with my mom, as bride and groom, and a marriage certificate that had my mother's name and the name of a strange man. There was also a birth certificate that had my name and the name of my current father. Many thoughts flashed through my mind as I realized that my dad, whom I was living with, wasn't my real dad. I desperately wanted to speak with my parents about this, but I was afraid that I might not want to know the truth. We moved to our new villa. My mood changed. I became gloomy and spent a lot of time thinking. My parents noticed my mood change and asked me what's wrong. I found the date of the man's death and I went to see his gravesite. There, I felt a hand on my shoulder. I was surprised enough to turn around and see my father. Mom was with him. After we returned home, they told me the story. The man with me in the picture was my real biological father, but he died in a terrible car accident when I was 3 months old. My parents showed me the related newspaper clipping. My mother was poor and couldn't make ends meet. She met my current father, who supported her and me. They subsequently fell in love and got married. He couldn't have children of his own, so he adopted me and gave me his name. This man gave me everything: love, encouragement, and support. He was as kind as a real father could be. I was shocked when I learned of all this. Should I accept and love this man as my father and stay with him? Or should I revere my deceased father in the picture as my father? I'm so confused. Do you think I should accept this truth and be happy with my current situation? What's your advice?